2241 local, northern Persian Gulf, 31 nautical miles southwest of the Shatt al-Arab waterway, 19 nautical miles from Iranian territorial waters. Sea state: calm. Swells under 0.4 meters. Surface like dark glass. No wind. Air temperature: 38 degrees Celsius. The kind of Gulf night where the heat stays in the water long after sunset, and the horizon between sea and sky disappears into a single black plane. USS Carney, DDG-64, Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, was operating in the Northern Gulf on maritime security operations, MSO patrol, monitoring commercial traffic in the upper shipping lanes and maintaining a visible U.S. Navy presence in one of the most economically sensitive bodies of water on Earth. The ship had been on station for 9 days. Routine had settled over the watch rotations the way it always does after a week at sea. A heightened vigilance in the first days, then the slow compression of alertness that no amount of training fully prevents. The contact picture at 2241 was not unusual. 12 commercial vessels transiting in both directions. 3 Iranian Sina-class patrol boats holding station inside territorial waters. 19 nautical miles northeast. Present since 2100 hours, consistent with routine observation posture. IRGC Navy logistics vessel was anchored 24 nautical miles north. The SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite was passive, monitoring the spectrum. The SPY-1D was cycling through its search sweeps. Nothing on the display suggested what was about to enter the water beneath the ship. The mine had been placed 4 days earlier. It was not a legacy moored mine. It was not a contact detonator. What sat 28 meters below Carney's projected track was an IRGC Navy bottom influence mine, a EM-52 variant, magnetically activated with a ship signature discriminator programmed to distinguish between commercial tanker traffic and a warship's magnetic signature. The discriminator had allowed 11 commercial vessels to pass overhead in the preceding 4 days without triggering. It was waiting for a specific class of hull. It had been waiting for USS Carney. The mine had been placed by an IRGC Navy swimmer delivery vehicle, a 2-person closed-circuit rebreather unit, launched from the logistics vessel 24 nautical miles to the north during a period of reduced commercial satellite coverage on the night of day 1. The SDV had transited at 14 meters depth, placed the mine on the Gulf floor at the computed intercept point for Carney's known patrol pattern, and returned to the logistics vessel before first light. The mine's placement was the first act of a 2-phase operation. The second phase required Carney to be damaged, slowed, disabled, or listing before it could proceed. At 22:43:17, USS Carney's keel passed over the mine at a distance of 22 meters. The EM-52's magnetic influence fuse activated. The mine's 300-kilogram warhead detonated beneath the ship's keel at frame 112, 4 meters below the waterline. The underwater pressure wave, the hydrodynamic shock that a keel detonation generates, arrived at the hull in 0.003 seconds. It did not pierce the hull at a single point. It lifted it, the upward force from a 300-kilogram subkeel detonation against an Arleigh Burke-class hull, translated into a vertical impulse of approximately 8.4 megajoules, applied across a 14-meter section of the keel. The keel did not fail structurally. The Arleigh Burke design incorporates a double-bottom configuration specifically to distribute mine impulse loads. What failed was everything connected to that 14-meter section of hull by rigid mounting. The number 2 shaft bearing assembly, the port reduction gearbox, the aft damage control pump foundation, and the mounting frame for the number 3 ship's service gas turbine generator. The shaft bearing failure was immediate. The port shaft, still turning at the time of the impulse, experienced a bearing displacement of 3.1 centimeters. At shaft RPM, that displacement created a vibration harmonic that the automated plant protection system detected and responded to in 0.8 seconds by shutting down the port main engine. The port shaft locked. The reduction gearbox damage was secondary. The gearbox housing cracked along a pre-existing stress point at frame 114. Reduction gear oil began venting into the shaft alley. Not fire, not ignition, but a progressive loss of lubricant that would, if uncorrected, render the gearbox inoperable within 40 minutes. The number 3 generator fell off its mounting frame and came to rest against the generator flat's interior hull plating. It did not fail electrically. It remained online, but it was no longer on its foundation. Any further shock event would sever its electrical connections. Speed dropped from 14 knots to 6 knots in 41 seconds as the automated plant protection removed the port engine and the ship's momentum bled into the calm Gulf water. The flooding was not from the hull breach. There was no hull breach in the conventional sense. No hole through which water entered at the waterline. The damage was deeper. The impulse load had opened microfractures in 2 of the keel plate welds between frames 108 and 116. At 22 nautical miles from Iranian territorial waters, in 31 meters of water, those microfractures were admitting approximately 220 liters per minute into the double bottom void space. Not catastrophic, not immediate, progressive. The flooding alarm for the double bottom void activated at 22:43:31, 14 seconds after the mine event. General quarters at 22:43:35. The ship had gone from quiet MSO patrol to emergency response in 18 seconds. This was the moment the second phase of the IRGC operation was designed to exploit. The planning logic was specific. A disabled, slowed U.S. destroyer in the northern Gulf at night. Speed reduced, shaft locked, crew managing flooding and a fallen generator, was a ship whose attention was below decks. A ship whose CIC watch was managing a damage control emergency, was a ship whose external threat picture was receiving degraded attention. The planning cell had assessed that the 60 to 90 minute window, while Carney managed the mine damage, would create an engagement opportunity for a coastal battery strike that a fully alert, fully operational Carney would defeat. The EM-52 was not intended to sink the ship. It was intended to set it up. At 22:47, 3 minutes and 23 seconds after the mine event, while Carney's damage control parties were still locating the flooding boundaries and the engineering watch was assessing the shaft and gearbox. The SLQ-32 registered an active fire control radar emission, Khalij Fars guidance radar, a 300mm anti-ship ballistic missile system, shore-based fixed installation on the Iranian coast 31 nautical miles northeast. The SPY-1D had not lost coverage. All 4 arrays were nominal. The ship's speed reduction had not affected radar performance. The Aegis system classified the Khalij Fars fire control radar emission in 1.4 seconds and placed the CIC on missile warning. At 22:47:09, the SPY-1D tracked a launch. 1 Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missile. Weight, 3,000 kilograms. Warhead, 650 kilograms. Ballistic trajectory. Loft phase to 40 kilometers altitude. Terminal dive phase at Mach 3.5. Semi-active radar homing in terminal phase. Time of flight from detected launch point, 4 minutes, 12 seconds. The TAO had a ship at 6 knots with a locked shaft, a damaged generator on its mounting frame, flooding in the double bottom, and a damage control party distributed across 3 stations below decks. He also had 4 minutes and 12 seconds before a 650-kilogram warhead arrived at supersonic speed. He had 72 cells operational in the aft VLS bank. The forward bank was undamaged. He had the SM-6. The engagement geometry for a ballistic missile intercept from a ship at 6 knots is different from the same intercept at 14 knots. The ship's slower speed narrowed the available intercept corridor for the SM-6's terminal guidance. The Aegis system compensated by computing an earlier intercept point, engaging the Khalij Fars during its loft phase at high altitude rather than in its terminal dive. That required more SM-6 flight time and a longer engagement range. SM-6 rounds 1 and 2 away at 22:47:22, 13 seconds after detection of the launch. Both targeted the Khalij Fars in its loft phase at a computed intercept altitude of 38 kilometers. SM-6 rounds 3 and 4 away at 22:47:29. Second salvo Insurance engagement for the terminal phase if the loft phase intercept failed. At 22:49:58, 2 minutes and 36 seconds after launch, SM-6 Round 1 intercepted the Khalij Fars at 36 kilometers altitude. The Round 2 intercept was redundant. The target had already been neutralized. Rounds 3 and 4 were commanded to self-destruct at 22:50:14. The Khalij Fars had been neutralized. The ship was still damaged. The mine had set up the engagement. The missile had not completed it. But the ship was slowed, trailing fluid from a cracked gearbox, managing progressive flooding in the double bottom with one shaft locked and a generator off its foundation. The second phase of the IRGC operation had failed tactically. The planning cell's assumption that a damaged Carney would be distracted enough to miss the missile launch was operationally incorrect. The SPY-1D didn't care about the flooding alarm. Now the damage control fight. The DC assessment was completed at 22:51, 7 minutes and 23 seconds after the mine event. Double bottom void flooding. 220 liters per minute ingress through keel weld microfractures. Frames 108 to 116. 2 P100 pumps deployed into the void access trunk at 22:52:14. Combined discharge capacity 1,360 liters per minute against 220 liters per minute ingress. Adequate margin. Water level in the void space peaked at 0.31 meters at 22:53:40 and began declining. Port shaft. Locked. The bearing displacement was not repairable at sea. The port shaft would remain locked for the duration. Speed on the starboard shaft alone. Maximum 14 knots, sustainable 12 knots to prevent starboard shaft overloading. The ship had lost half its propulsion. It retained navigation and maneuvering capability. Reduction gearbox. The lubricant loss was controlled at 22:54:08 when the engineering watch isolated the cracked gearbox housing using an emergency blanket seal. A temporary measure rated for 4 to 6 hours. The gearbox was not repaired. It was stabilized. Number 3. Generator. Remained online on its displaced foundation. The engineering officer of the watch directed the crew to secure the generator at 22:54:30, physically restraining it against the hull plating using chain lashing from the DC locker. Not an approved procedure. Effective. The generator stayed online. At 22:56:11, 12 minutes and 54 seconds after the mine event, the DCA reported double bottom flooding controlled. Void water level declining. Port shaft. Locked. No repair underway. Gearbox. Emergency sealed. 4 to 6 hour limit. Generator 3. Secured to hull. Online. Speed. 12 knots maximum on starboard shaft. No fire. CIC systems fully nominal. Ship status. Degraded but operational. The TAO was standing by the captain's chair when the DCA finished. The captain had been in CIC since the general quarters alarm. He had watched his ship absorb a mine detonation, defeat a ballistic missile, and stabilize its own flooding in under 13 minutes. He picked up the fleet command circuit. USS Carney reported to Commander, Naval Forces Central Command, at 22:57. The report was precise. Bottom influence mine. Subkeel detonation at frame 112. Khalij Fars ballistic missile launch at 22:47:09. Neutralized at 22:49:58 by SM-6 engagement. Ship operational at degraded capacity. 2-phase IRGC coordinated operation confirmed. Both phases defeated. Ship requesting authorization to respond. Target package transmitted to CENTCOM at 22:59:30. Site Alpha. Khalij Fars battery. Confirmed active launch site. Iranian coast northeast. Fixed installation. Known coordinates. Fire control radar still emitting. Site Bravo. IRGC Navy logistics vessel at anchor. 24 nautical miles north. Assessed as the mine-laying platform. SDV launch and recovery point for the EM-52 placement operation. Site Charlie. IRGC Navy Coastal Command Facility. Bandar Imam Khomeini Port Complex, assessed as the operational coordination node for the two-phase operation. Site Delta. Secondary Khalij Fars battery assessed at a position 18 nautical miles east of Site Alpha. Same radar emission profile detected twice on the SLQ-32 passive archive in the preceding 6 hours, suggesting a second battery had been conducting targeting tracks on Carney during the patrol. Site Echo. IRGC Navy Fuel and Logistics Depot, Northern Gulf Coast, assessed as supporting both the mine-laying vessel and the coastal battery operations. CENTCOM authorized the response at 23:04:17. Time for mine event to authorization, 20 minutes, 40 seconds. The response did not wait for the ship to be fully stabilized. It waited for the captain's report. Those are different things. USS, the Sullivans DDG-68, was operating 88 nautical miles to the south. Its Tomahawk inventory was preloaded and target coordinates received at 23:04:45. USS Gettysburg, CG-64, was 110 nautical miles southwest. Authorization received at 23:05. 2 additional surface combatants in the Central Gulf acknowledged strike tasking at 23:05:30. The carrier strike group, USS Harry S. Truman, CVN-75, was 290 nautical miles south in the Arabian Sea. Air Wing received launch authorization at 23:06. F/A-18, E/F. Super Hornets began startup sequence. T+0, mine event, 22:43. T+20 minutes. CENTCOM authorization, 23:04. T+22 minutes. First Tomahawk, USS, the Sullivans, 23:05. T+26 minutes. First F/A, 18E/F. Wheels up from Truman, 23:09. T+32 minutes. First Tomahawk impacts Site Alpha, 23:15. T+58 minutes. F/A, 18 first wave at weapons release range, 23:41. Total from mine event to first adversary site neutralized, 32 minutes. First Tomahawk, USS, the Sullivans, VLS, Cell 3, 23:05. Cost, $1.87 million. Target, Site Alpha, Khalij Fars. Battery primary launch structure. The battery that had fired at Carney 4 minutes after the mine detonated. The second phase of the IRGC operation was the first target of the response. Flight time from the Sullivans, 10 minutes at terrain following altitude over the Gulf surface. Running response cost, $1.87 million. Tomahawks 2 through 4. Site Alpha, the fire control radar shelter, the battery's missile storage structure, and the command operations shelter. 3 rounds, 8-second intervals. Running cost, $7.5 million. Tomahawk 5, Site Bravo, the IRGC Navy logistics vessel at anchor. An anchored vessel is not a standard Tomahawk target. The weapon's GPS guidance and terminal seeker are designed for fixed structures. The logistics vessel's anchor position had been static for 9 days on the NRO imagery archive. It was treated as a fixed coordinate. Running cost, $9.4 million. Tomahawks 6 through 10. Site Delta, the second Khalij Fars battery. 4 rounds against the launch rail structures, 1 round against the associated radar installation. Running cost, $18.7 million. Tomahawks 11 through 16. Site Charlie and Site Echo, the command coordination facility at Bandar Imam Khomeini and the fuel and logistics depot. 6 rounds. Running cost, $30.0 million at 23:15. 32 minutes after the mine event, the first Tomahawk reached Site Alpha. The Khalij Fars battery's fire control radar was still emitting when the first round arrived. It ceased emitting at 23:15 and 9 seconds. The launch rail structure took a direct impact 14 seconds later. The missile storage structure, assessed as containing 2 reload Khalij Fars missiles, received its round at 23:15:28. Secondary event followed immediately. The propellant from the stored missiles contributed to a thermal signature that the MQ-9 Reaper surveillance overhead captured as a sustained bloom lasting 63 seconds. The battery that had launched at USS Carney 42 minutes earlier was functionally eliminated at 23:15:28, running assessment at T plus 35 minutes. Site Alpha confirmed neutralized. Cost of the 2 rounds that hit Carney's patrol area. The mine, $180,000 estimated unit cost. And the Khalij Fars missile, $2 million estimated unit cost. $2.18 million. The battery that launched the missile, neutralized in exchange for $7.5 million in Tomahawks. Adversary replacement cost for the battery, assessed at $280 million, 6 to 8 years to reconstitute under sanctions. Running response total, $30.0 million, 2319. Site Bravo, the logistics vessel. The Tomahawk's terminal seeker acquired the vessel's radar cross-section at range 2.1 nautical miles and guided to the vessel's center mass. The vessel, a 340-ton IRGC Navy multi-purpose logistics craft, was rendered inoperable. The SDV that had placed the EM-52 mine was assessed as embarked on the vessel. It was no longer a viable platform. Running cost, $31.9 million. 2322, Site Delta, the second Khalij Fars battery. 4 Tomahawks in sequence. The battery's radar installation was confirmed neutralized on the first round. The launch rail structures received rounds 2 and 3 with confirmed impacts. Round 4 impacted a secondary structure assessed as the battery's communications relay. The battery was offline by 23 hours, 22 minutes and 44 seconds. 2326, Site Charlie, Bandar Imam Khomeini Command Facility. 2 Tomahawks on the operations building, both confirmed on target. The facility ceased transmitting unmonitored IRGC Navy command frequencies at 23:26:31. 2329, Site Echo, Fuel and Logistics Depot. 2 Tomahawks. Secondary event from the fuel storage. The thermal bloom on the Reaper feed indicated significant stored fuel involvement. The depot was assessed as eliminated. The FA-18 First Wave, 2 4-ship formations from Truman, arrived at weapons release range at 23:41. Targets. A 3rd assessed Khalij Fars battery position on the northern coast, and 3 IRGC Navy patrol boat staging areas, whose vessels had been shadowing Carney during the preceding 9 days, and were assessed as potential contingency assets for Phase 3 of the operation. If Phases 1 and 2 had succeeded in slowing and disabling the ship for a boarding or seizure attempt, the patrol boat staging areas were fixed shore infrastructure, pier structures, fuel points, maintenance shelters. 8 JSOW munitions, 6 confirmed impacts. 1 JSOW experienced a navigation anomaly in its terminal phase and impacted a stretch of shoreline 280 meters from the designated pier structure. The pier survived. At 2352, the second F/A-18 wave employed 6 JDAMs against road approaches to the Site Alpha battery position. The access routes that would be required by any reconstitution effort bringing replacement equipment to the battery site. Not everything landed as intended. The Tomahawk assigned to Site Bravo had guided to the vessel's last known position based on a 41-minute-old NRO fix. The IRGC Navy logistics vessel had weighed anchor at 23:03, 1 minute before CENTCOM authorization, and had moved 1.1 nautical miles northeast before the Tomahawk arrived. The weapons terminal seeker acquired the correct vessel class and guided to impact. Post-engagement imagery confirmed the vessel was rendered inoperable. Its status was disabled and drifting, not neutralized at anchor. The SDV embarked status could not be confirmed. The command facility at Site Charlie was structurally neutralized. Personnel disposition was unconfirmed. The IRGC command protocols for an active operation called for dispersal of key personnel to alternate sites before and during the operation. Whether the personnel who planned and coordinated the 2-phase engagement were in the facility when the Tomahawks arrived was assessed as unlikely. The building was gone. planning staff was unaccounted for. 2 fog elements. 1 vessel status ambiguous, disabled but not at anchor. 1 personnel disposition unconfirmed. 5 of 5 fixed sites confirmed neutralized. At 0:14 the following morning, both FA-18 formations recovered to Truman. All aircraft nominal. Weapons loads expended. The Northern Gulf was quiet. The accounting. IRGC investment in the 2-phase operation. 1 EM-52 bottom influence mine. Estimated unit cost $180,000. 1 Khalij Fars ballistic missile. Estimated unit cost $2 million. SDV operation and logistics support. Estimated cost $600,000. Total operational investment, approximately $2.78 million. Damage achieved. Port shaft locked. Keel weld microfractures with controlled flooding. Reduction gearbox emergency sealed. Generator 3 displaced and secured. Ship speed reduced to 12 knots. Estimated repair time, 47 days. Repair cost, $31 million. The Khalij Fars missile, the 2nd phase, achieved 0 damage. It was neutralized 4 minutes after launch. U.S. response cost, 16 Tomahawks at $1.87 million. $29.9 million. 14F/A, 18E/F sorties. $12.6 million. 1M Q9 Reaper surveillance sortie. $0.4 million. Total, $42.9 million. Adversary infrastructure neutralized. 2 Khalij Fars batteries. 1 command facility. 1 logistics vessel. 1 fuel and supply depot. 3 patrol boat staging areas. Assessed replacement value, $1.4 billion under current sanctions constraints, 8 to 12 years to reconstitute full Northern Gulf coastal defense capacity. The IRGC had invested 2.5 years building the 2-phase concept. The mine and missile sequence was operationally innovative, a genuine tactical development. No U.S. Navy ship had been subjected to a coordinated mine plus ballistic missile engagement in the Persian Gulf before 2243 on this date. The concept was sound. The execution had 1 structural flaw. The planning cell had modeled the mine event as producing a 90-second window of CIC distraction. The SPY-1D produced a missile warning 3 minutes and 23 seconds after the mine event. The SM-6 was away 13 seconds after that. 90 seconds of distraction. That was the window they planned for. They got less than 4 minutes. And inside those 4 minutes, Carney engaged and neutralized a ballistic missile. The shaft is locked. The gearbox is emergency sealed. The ship entered Kuwait Naval Base at 7:22 the following morning under her own power. 1 shaft, 11 knots. The crew that had fought a mine detonation, a ballistic missile, and 4 hours of damage control through the night. Repairs are estimated at 47 days and $31 million. USS Carney, DDG-64. Subkeel mine event, frame 112. Port shaft locked, no underway repair. Reduction gearbox, emergency sealed, temporary. Generator 3, displaced, secured, online. Double bottom flooding, controlled. Speed, 12 knots on starboard shaft. 4 SM-6 expended. 2 intercept. 2 self-destructed. CIC systems, fully nominal throughout. Personnel, 4 personnel treated for concussive effects from mine impulse, returned to duty. Repair estimate, $31 million, 47 days. USS the Sullivans, DDG-68. No damage. 10 Tomahawks expended. USS Gettysburg, CG-64. No damage. 6 Tomahawks expended. USS Harry S. Truman, CVN-75. 14F/A, 18E/F sorties. All aircraft recovered. Total U.S. response cost, $42.9 million. Adversary, Alpha, Khalij Fars battery, confirmed neutralized, secondary event confirmed. Bravo, logistics vessel rendered inoperable. drifting. SDV status unconfirmed. Charlie. Command facility neutralized. Personnel unconfirmed. Delta. 2nd Khalij Fars battery, confirmed neutralized. Echo. Fuel depot, confirmed neutralized. Patrol boat staging. 2 of 3 pier structures neutralized. 1 survived JSOW anomaly. US execution. Gaps. Site Bravo vessel had shifted anchor. Disabled, but not at planned coordinates. JSOW navigation anomaly. 1 pier structure survived. Site Charlie personnel disposition unconfirmed. 32 minutes. That is the interval between the mine detonating under Carney's keel at frame 112 and the first Tomahawk eliminating the battery that had tried to finish what the mine had started. 32 minutes from a double event. Mine then missile. Phase 1, then Phase 2. To a response that eliminated both batteries, the logistics platform, the command node, and the supply depot in a single coordinated strike window. The IRGC's 2-phase concept was operationally innovative. A bottom influence mine designed to disable without sinking, followed by a ballistic missile strike timed to exploit the damage control window. That is not a plan built by people who underestimate their opponent. It is a plan built by people who studied their opponent carefully and found a specific seam they thought they could open. They were right about the seam. A mine event does pull attention below decks. A Khalij Fars ballistic missile is a difficult intercept problem. A slowed ship at 6 knots has a reduced engagement corridor for SM-6. What they were wrong about. The SPY-1D doesn't go offline during a flooding alarm. The TAO doesn't stop watching the display because the gearbox is cracked. The 32 minutes it took to authorize and execute the response was not a window of hesitation. It was the time required for CENTCOM to confirm 2 coordinates it already had in the target database and transmit authorization to a ship that had been waiting for it. The Northern Gulf Coastal Defense Network is assessed at 11% of pre-engagement baseline. The ship is heading to port. The strait is open.